Um, I went to Japan. I did it. I checked it off the bucket list, and it was a lot of work. It was a lot of planning, and a lot of research, and a lot of it was it was a lot of everything, but it was amazing. Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. I've been on a lot of trips. I traveled a lot more when I was younger, obviously, before life kind of settled in. And as cheesy as it sounds, like I go on a lot of adventures, you know what I mean? Because we play a lot of TTRPGs in my life and on my servers, so we're constantly going places in our mind palace, right? But I hadn't been on a big real life adventure in a really long time, and so it was just such a tremendous experience. And we're looking at the airplane right now, but I have like 1,000 photos from like 2 weeks. It's a lot of photos. These were the 1,000 that like I really liked. So it was kind of tricky for me to kind of pare down just the pictures I really liked. And it was really hard for me to think of a way to talk about the trip that could encompass like all the amazing things I was able to see and do, and feel and learn in such a short amount of time. And yeah, it was amazing. So there's probably going to be like several videos in this series. This is not going to be like hey, watch this video and you'll know exactly how to have a perfect trip to Japan. I might try to make a video like that, but for now, I just kind of want to talk about, what it was like and what the experience was like. And I did a preview stream, I guess, before we left that kind of talked about what we were going to try to do, and it was pretty robust. And then there's the whole like reality meets planning, or planning meets reality, or whatever, and like what stuck and what didn't, what we had to pivot on, what we had to make adjustments for, that sort of thing. So anyways, I'm just going to jump in and I'm just going to do like a broad strokes, like this was the trip, right? So I don't have any pictures of it, but we went up the night before. We flew out of BWI in Baltimore, which if you know, you know. And we were flying on Delta, which I guess if you know, you know. And we were not flying like first class, or there's like something new, like better than first class, where you get like your own hotel room on the plane. Yeah, we didn't have that. We had regular ass sardine can seats, as you can see in this picture. But the plane was scheduled to leave so early in the morning that like Delta Airlines told us like, you better be at the airport at like 2 a.m. you little bitch. And it's like, oh my god, that's crazy. Okay, we'll be at the airport at 2 a.m. I guess. So listen to me. We get dropped off at a hotel. I get a hotel by the airport because, gotta wake up at 2 a.m. and head to the airport, right? That's crazy. So I do, I'm, as always, right? I do all the right things. But my family did not eat because they were nervous about the trip. So once we get to the hotel, they're hungry. So we go to like a Chili's. Chili's at the airport, by the airport Chili's, not even in the airport. That would have been a better Chili's. And it was terrible. It was absolutely horrible. And it was kind of like a beautiful goodbye to America because it was like so horrible. So then we wake up at 2 a.m., get an Uber, and the Ubers are like, bro, it's 2 a.m. I don't really feel like it. And you could just watch the Ubers on the app just give up. They're just like, nah, that's okay. Eventually, we got an Uber. It took us to the airport. We get to Delta, and Delta's like, oh, yeah, no one's going to be here until, like, I don't know, 5 a.m. So we just sat for 2 hours. We're the first in line, thankfully, of a line of about 300 people by 5 a.m. But, like, that kind of sucked. Anyways, so Delta, right? So they told me to get there early. We get there, and then whatever. So we get on the plane. It ain't too bad. Good for Delta. I don't know, 100 years. I didn't even know airplanes were around that long. 100 years of airplanes, of Delta airplanes. Good stuff. So, like, we get to, I want to say Minneapolis, which is a place, and their airport was amazing. And we got some burgers, and we hung out at this cool airport for a little while. Then we got on the actual plane to Japan. And let me tell you, I did not know it was going to hit me that hard. But, like, man, the claustrophobia of being stuck in little tiny airplane seat for so long, it was pretty rough. And then I thought I was going to get airsick, so I took, like, some Dramamine. And that Dramamine, fucked me up, man. I was I was in and out of consciousness for, like, most of the flight. It was a misery. It was a misery. Eventually the Dramamine wore off, and, like, I busted out the Switch, and I watched a movie. I watched Wild Robot. It made me cry really hard. Then I played Fire Emblem Engage, which did make me cry really hard because it's probably the weakest story of any Fire Emblem I've ever seen. But it was fun. But yeah, we made it. So we made it to Japan. I guess I'll change the slide at this point, if I can. Oh wait, hold on. In Minneapolis, I got this. This dinosaur is a neck pillow. And this was also one of the culprits for why I kept passing out, I think, is this was such a snuggly little lizard dinosaur, strong, you know, Trogdor looking thing. It was nice. You can also see, maybe, that I'm wearing this bracelet with a little white plastic thing on it. This is a motion sickness bracelet, and it crucifies you in the traditional, like, manner of that they used to kill Christ, I guess, by putting, like, a little thing between your wrist bones. And it's some kind of acupuncture thing, and it actually worked pretty good. On the flight home, I just used the bracelets, and I didn't use the Dramamine, and I didn't get any motion sickness. I had a great flight on the way back, so, you know, sometimes this weird medicine stuff actually works. So anyways, we arrived in Japan. That's the airport. You could tell we're in Japan because there is a cherry blossom on the airplane. It also says Tokyo International Airport, but there's a lot of clues here. Not as many clues as you would think. But it was an incredible airport, you know. Took a piss right off the plane. Not off the plane, but I got off the plane and I found a bathroom. And the bathroom was so clean, and there was a little touch screen after you wash your hands that was like, how was the bathroom today? And you could, like, rate the bathroom. I don't know, man. That's how I knew that we were in the future. So anyways, we navigate the airport. We'll talk about that in a different stream. And we get on a train and another train and another train. And eventually we get to where we're staying, which is somewhere in Tokyo. And I was in love with the city. I love cities in general. I mean, I love going to New York, Chicago, Seattle. You know, I mean, I didn't love going to LA. I went to LA. I wouldn't say I loved it. But, you know, all the great cities of the world, Paris, Rome. I mean, Naples is not a great city, but, you know, I like it. But yeah, like, I've done a lot of world traveling. I love cities, and so I just love taking pictures of cities. So I did take a ton of pictures of cities. We found our lodgings. We were looking for a place to eat. We went to this little ramen place where there was a single woman, just one lady, and her robot that took your orders. And that was it. That was the only people that worked at this restaurant. And it was maybe one of the best meals in all of the 2 weeks that we were in Japan. It was so good. It was so good. Yeah. So our accommodations were a single bedroom apartment. I was doing like an Airbnb situation. It was like a single bedroom apartment, and we had to solve like an escape room style challenge just to like find it and then figure out how to get inside of it. And then I don't know. It was interesting. Yeah. So the next day we hopped on a train and we went over to a different part of the city. We went to Chinatown actually, and we got all kinds of delicious food. And we went to like the Cup Noodle Museum, which was like pretty cool. We got to make our own cup noodles, and then we walked around for a bit. Just a beautiful day. A little rainy, but like never like enough that you needed an umbrella. It's just really beautiful, like overall. Like everywhere you went was just really beautiful, really clean. You could see that in Japan they got no tolerance for any amount of rain, so they busted out them umbrellas just like on Animal Crossing. And so there was just like little umbrella turtles all over the place. It was adorable. All of the buildings, especially in Ginza, which is like the shopping district where we went to see Crimes Against Nature, aka a goldfish art exhibit. Everything in Ginza was like over the top. Like all the buildings were works of art. All the stores were immaculate. Everybody that worked in the stores was like the best store employee of the year. There's just like an attitude of like taking pride in your work and like just doing a good job. Like everybody I met, even the people in Kyoto, all right, even the people in Kyoto, which is like maybe the meanest part of Japan that I found. Everybody was super professional. Like everybody was very polite, very professional. Didn't matter what kind of job they had. It was like it seemed like it meant a lot to them to do a good job at whatever their job happened to be. And it was kind of inspiring, honestly, because I mean, in America, I think we're just really tired. I don't know. I don't think we've ever been very polite, but like, you know you have a bad job, and you know that people know you have a bad job, and you know that people are going to treat you bad, and you know that the company doesn't care about you, and you know that like, you know, your lot in life isn't great. And so maybe you don't have the best attitude. You know what I mean? Like maybe you're just, you know, you're just like, fuck all that, you know. This is what you get. This is what you get. I've been there, you know what I'm saying? And like it kind of opened my eyes to the idea of like real like positive mental attitude. Like you could do any job and take some pride in that job, and then maybe the job would be a little bit better just by having a better attitude about it. I don't know. I'm gonna try it out myself now that I'm back. So anyways, Ginza was incredible. A lot of really cool shops. We went in and we saw this goldfish exhibit, and it was mind-blowing. The stuff we saw. It's absolutely mind-blowing. If you have any empathy at all for living creatures, it might have been a tough sell, because these goldfish weren't in good conditions for any living creature. But like, it was hauntingly beautiful. It was like big Kingdom Death vibes, honestly. It was like, this is so beautiful, but also like really sad and kind of like fucked up. But it was pretty incredible. It was the visual and audio stimulation of the art exhibit was like nothing I'd ever seen before. It was incredible. It was spooky too. There's a hallway of spooky masks like this you had to walk through, and the masks were all looking at these goldfish that were like imprisoned in like glass globes, like floating. There were lights everywhere. It was pretty surreal. Anyways, then we went and we ate the meat. Trigger warning, I guess, if you don't like flesh. So we went to this place that was like all you can eat beef and like just cook it right on the table. And man, it was all you could eat. All right, I actually couldn't eat all that I wanted to eat. I ate all that I could eat, but I physically could not eat any more. And they were like, "You sure? We got some more here. Do you want it? Do you want some more?" I'm like, "Well, I want it. Give it to me." But like they didn't. I was like, "Nah, don't really give it to me. I'll just waste it. Like I can't eat anymore. This is incredible." And it was all just cooked fresh for you. It wasn't like going to like, I don't know, Golden Corral or something like that. Like it was awesome. It was just really awesome. And there was other food that they served that was like just kind of elevated cuisine. Like there was like, yeah, one piece of fish expertly cooked, like 3 vegetables next to it. Yeah, like one tiny spoonful of onion soup. It was like, I don't know. It was really neat. I like. There's the fish. Look at that. It's got a little swoopy, pesto. Man, that was fucking good. Yeah. So I ate like 5 meals a day. I'm not even lying to you. I ate like 5 fucking meals a day, and I lost 12 pounds. That's how much walking we did every day. Enough walking and mountain climbing and just being awake and on the move that I lost 12 pounds eating 5 meals a day, to give you any idea of how much walking we did. It was incredible. So anyways, then let's see. Oh, right. So then, like, the next day, we rolled out because we were going to go out on a day trip to the countryside. So, like, an hour and a half east of Tokyo. And we went to this place that was called Hitachi Seaside Park. And Hitachi Seaside Park is, like, famous for flowers. Particularly a giant hill that is covered in blue flowers. And we kind of arrived at this like time when the hill wasn't in full bloom, but like everything else was, including like the cherry blossoms. So it was an okay trade-off in my opinion, to not see the hill super blue, but get to enjoy everything else. This is a hellebore, by the way, one of the best flowers. If you're familiar with the games on our server, you can tell that this flower don't take no shit, and will suplex you into lava. There was an area that was just like nothing but tulips. I mean, like thousands and thousands of tulips of every possible color that you could imagine. It was nuts. These are the flowers that made up. Yeah, the tulips were. It was otherworldly, like how beautiful everything was. These are the flowers that grow all over the hill. I think they're called like Hemophila or something like that. They put them in like the ice cream and the coffee and a lot of other stuff that they served at the cafe. It was the ice cream was pretty bad. It tasted like soap, but the coffee was good. And then this is like the hill. So you could imagine, if you can imagine, that all these patches of blue, like now, like right now, 2 weeks later, you wouldn't be able to tell the sky from the ground because that's how blue that hill gets. Now, what's really cool about it is like a Pokemon game. There's Hitachi Seaside Park Blue and there's Hitachi Seaside Park Red, because in the fall, all the flowers on the hill actually turn red. So there's like 2 different types of blooms that these flowers have. So they the whole hill is blue in the spring and red in the fall, and it's incredible. I could go on at length about everything that we did and there was to see at this park, but I kind of want to do a whirlwind tour sort of situation. Oh yeah. So the next day we went up to Kanazawa and we stayed in a place called Mikawa, outside of Kanazawa, and we got to have an incredible seafood dinner at a local family-owned restaurant, and I got to try pufferfish for the first time, and it was incredible. And basically just all the food, except for a couple of meals, like all of the meals I had, except for a couple, were absolutely mind-blowingly phenomenal. And a couple of them are like top meals I've ever had in my life. They were so good. So, in Mikawa, there was also this cool shrine. It was protected by a monkey spirit. You could see the little monkey shrine token that I got at the shrine. It had a little lucky fortune. It came out of its butthole. And I had AI assistant translate it, and it was a good fortune. So that was cool. One of us got a bad fortune, so we tied it to the shrine like area where you're supposed to tie your bad fortunes to leave your bad fortune behind. It was really cool. It was like we're doing everything that you would imagine that you would do on a trip to Japan. It was so fucking cool. We also, while we were in Kanazawa, we went to see the castle, and the castle has like a big park and the park has all these beautiful things to see and do, and all these trails to walk. And there's also this like hidden tea garden sort of area, this right here, where you could sort of go, and we did like a tea ceremony where we got to have like tea and traditional desserts in the classic like style from hundreds of years ago, and we all sat in the correct poses, and we all like ate the treats the right way and drank the tea the right way, and like the ladies who were running the place were like very impressed and very happy with us. And I will tell you right now, the tea tasted like grass. I don't like matcha tea, but I drank every single drop to be polite. And the dessert tasted like flowers because it was a flower-based dessert, and I don't like flowers either, and I ate every single piece of the dessert, and it was an incredible experience. And we were actually able to sit and look at this garden that was recreated like by historians or whatever to match how the garden would have looked like back in the day. So this isn't like, it didn't magically get preserved for hundreds of years. This is actually a reconstruction of what the garden looked like. But there was like a viewing window where you would sit and have this tea ceremony, and you would look out at the garden and everything. And like the tea ceremony was like really cheap because it was like, I don't know, because it was weird. There was never a point at all on my trip that I felt like I was being ripped off or taken advantage of, and that includes buying food and drink at Disneyland. Like, I at no point, even at Disney, I never felt like I was being overcharged or like taken advantage of, like, in any way. Like, everything was just so fairly priced and like affordable, and man, I don't know, like it was pretty great. So then across the street from the castle park there was a shrine. The shrine was absolutely gorgeous, and this is like in the middle of a city. They've got like this beautiful like anime-esque forest with just like these ancient trees and these beautiful like moss-covered stone statues and these ponds and the streams and little bridges and stuff like that, and it's just so beautiful. So that was incredible. Yeah, like Kanazawa was absolutely phenomenal, and there's so much more I could talk about Kanazawa, but we're gonna move on and talk about other stuff. This is out of order, but this was from Arashiyama bamboo forest. I don't know why it got put here. Some of my photos, like the timestamps, got all screwy when we came back to our time zone from the future, I guess. But this was like the classic like tourist trap. Like, if you go to Kyoto, you got to go to Arashiyama, and you got to like see this bamboo forest because it's incredible. And you got to go first thing in the morning, and we did, and it was incredible, and it was really small, and you could walk through the whole thing in like 20 minutes. But hey, it was pretty majestic and pretty cool, and it also was a part of this whole like beautiful outdoor sort of area where you could like climb mountains and like look down at beautiful like, you know, reflective rivers and streams. And I mean, they were just like secret staircases that you could take to find like hidden tea houses and like monasteries and shit. It felt like a video game a lot of the times. Nothing was like, there weren't a lot of like signs, you know, being like, come here, do this, like you gotta come here and do that. It was like, if you found something, then you did it, you know what I mean? It never really felt touristy. Even in the most touristy areas, like the vibe was kind of, I wish we didn't have all these tourists. It was never like, yeah, baby tourist, I can't wait to sell you something. So that was really nice. Like, follow that hidden staircase down, find this beautiful river. Everything's like perfectly reflected in this beautiful river. There's little ducks and like kingfishers and stuff. Like, you know, we could see the fish swimming around in the water. It was insane. Like, everything was just so beautiful. Everywhere I went, things were so beautiful. We found these little guys, like I guess like, you know, little Charlie Brown Buddhas, just chilling. This was this Moss temple, a temple dedicated to Moss, and this was like on my hit list, and I was kind of worried we weren't going to find it because again, there were not a lot of signs to tell you to go, or any signs, it felt like, to tell you where to go, or everything was kind of like, if you find it, you can do it. And we walked around the mountains for a while before we found this place, and it was worth it if you like moss, because man, look at that moss. That's good stuff. I just wanted to like lay down on it, but that would have been inappropriate because it's like sacred moss or whatever. But like it was gorgeous. We also found like another shrine which was dedicated to this one was actually super sad. This was dedicated to unborn children, like this shrine. And there was I didn't take a picture of it. I just took a picture of this nice tree because they don't want you to take pictures of you know, certain things. And so I was like, I'll just take a picture of this tree so I remember this place. But it was sad and beautiful and well maintained. Then we went and climbed a mountain full of monkeys, and we went to see these monkeys, and these were like the most polite monkeys ever. And this was how high up the mountain was, that we could look out and see like all of Kyoto. Like you could see the Kyoto Eiffel Tower, sky tower thingy over there, and you just see all of Kyoto. It's not even all of it. Kyoto was like sprawling, but it was awesome. And little monkeys, they're these just red-faced monkeys. The only monkeys that live in Japan, apparently, are these little red-faced monkeys, and they were very polite. I've had some run-ins with monkeys, and some of them haven't been very friendly. Some of them have been kind of dangerous. These monkeys were just very polite little men and women, and they I got to feed apples to one, and it was enchanting. And then they're warning us to stay away from the monkeys, give the monkeys space, and while they're warning me, there's like literally a monkey like leaning on my leg, like what's up, bro? Yeah, so yeah, it was very, very cool. Pokemon centers. We went to 4 different Pokemon centers. We went to the Kanazawa Pokemon Center. We went to the Osaka Pokemon Center. We went to the Kyoto Pokemon Center. And we went to the Tokyo DX Pokemon Center, which is, it's important to note that there are more than one Pokemon Center in Tokyo. The Pokemon DX Center is the one that has the Pokemon Cafe that I was unable to get a reservation for. That's okay. Man. So, I have a lot of pictures from all the Pokemon centers, but again, I wanted to try to cover as much of the trip as I could, just a broad overview. Each of the 4 Pokemon centers was awesome. I don't know what else to say. Like, they all had different things, and they all had different layouts, and they all had different feel to them. And it almost kind of felt like in Pokemon when you go to the different gyms in a game, and you know each gym is kind of the same, but it's it's different. That's kind of how it felt. It was like each of these Pokemon centers definitely had their own vibe, and it was just really cool. I've been a fan of Pokemon since, I guess 6 months before it was released in America. I was playing the Japanese ROMs because the cartoon was really fun. So I was like, this would make a really cool game. And I found out I had a game. So I've been a fan of Pokemon for a long time. So this was like okay, yeah, we'll go to all the Pokemon centers, sure. We weren't originally going to go to the one in Kanazawa, but we were so just like supercharged when we were in Kanazawa that we were like, fuck it, why not? Like, I would say that our full day in Kanazawa was probably the busiest day of the whole trip, and one of the best days of the whole trip. Like, it was absolutely incredible. to tell you everything that happened in Kanazawa and Mikawa would take like an entire hour all by itself, which is again why I was going to do a lot of these videos to kind of let you know, like, hey, this is the cool stuff they did. So this is, again, just an overview. So at one point, and I think this was also in Kanazawa. I want to say this was in Kanazawa. This might have been in Osaka. I'll have to check. But we found a toy store in the basement of a building, and not just any building, a Japanese department store, which are incredible. And so the entire basement of this department store was a toy store, and they had traditional toys, they had toys for like all ages, they had baby toys, they had, you know, middle-sized kid toys, and then they had the big kid toys. And so there was like an entire Bandai section that was just insane figures. This Luffy is the size of a mini fridge. Like, there was no getting this home. This one right here. Absolutely incredible. Full-sized anime sword replicas. They got the massive Gundam robots to build. They got the figures. Oh, he was so good. It was so cool. You don't know if you want an anime waifu statue or a Gundam statue? Don't worry. They figured that one out. Yeah, you could build your own Gundam. Oh, okay. This is in the Edion building. Okay, nice. So this was in Osaka in the Edion building. Yeah. So yeah, if you want, you could build your own waifu, your own Gundam, or your own Gundam waifu. They just had you covered. Look at this. This Mario, he's just hanging out in their video game section. Nintendo is so big in Japan that they had kind of, I want to say they had a bigger section than Sony. Maybe it was half and half. You know who didn't have a big section in the video game section? Xbox and computer games. They didn't have a very big. So they're still very much into console play, and it's very much just like Sony and Nintendo, it seemed like. But we would see these Marios all over the place. There was a Mario, I don't think I got a picture of him. The Mario was so big, it was like his head coming out of a pipe. It was like the size of like a van. It was really big. Oh, then we also went and played with puppers. These are mini Shiba Inus. So this is a full-grown animal, but they're like Shiba Inu that are like the size of cats. And it was very clean, and in my opinion, it was pretty ethically run. All of the dogs had like sponsors, so like people that like, you know, just like OnlyFans girl kind of thing, like send money to like take care of the dogs and see how the dogs are doing and all that kind of stuff. No one was allowed to go after the dogs. Like, the dogs had to come to you. So you just kind of paid to sit there and sip hot cocoa, and then if the dogs were into you, they would come over and hang out with you, and then if they weren't into you, you just got to see very small, adorable dogs running around, sniffing at everybody and being really cute. And I thought that was great. Yeah. It was great. So then, let's see. Oh, yeah. So that was in this huge outdoor mall. It was kind of like an outdoor-indoor mall, but it was very, very cool. Again, all my photos on this are completely out of order. I think, like, we're in Kyoto right now. We went on a food tour when we were in Kyoto, and we got to go to, like, I want to say 5 different restaurants? Three different restaurants, 2 different eateries, something like that. The guide was incredible. The food was like diverse and like exciting. The venues were all like very, very cool, very upscale, like take your shoes off kind of venues. It was a real treat. Scarlett David actually recommended that I do the Kyoto Ninja Food Tours, and it was a very good suggestion. It was very, very cool. This was a dessert. Look at this. This is a fried and caramelized sweet potato with ice cream and then honey poured on top. This was one of the better desserts, maybe one of the best desserts that I had the entire time I was there. I the meals were great. The desserts were like all right. The desserts were like all right, but this was like top tier. This dessert. More Pokemon Center magic. More Pokemon Center magic. We found the Capcom store. We actually found a department store that on a single floor had the Capcom store, the Nintendo store, a Pokemon Center, and the One Piece store, all on the same floor of the department building. Like, holy shit, it was really cool. So yeah, One Piece store. It was very, very cool. Oh, then at one point we went and we got to play with pigs, micro pigs, and very similar to the doggo place. All these pigs had like sponsors. All the pigs had like online like profiles and stuff, and you could not like go after the pigs. You had to let the pigs come to you. But unlike the Shiba Inus, who were a little shy, these pigs knew the assignment. I think at one point I had 7 or more pigs on me, one of which weighed like 40 pounds. It was a teapot pig, not a teacup pig, that one, but it was enchanting. Honestly, it was for people that had been away from their pugs for, at this point, I think 9 or 10 days. Having little fat snorting animals crawl all over us was pretty magical. They were so cute and so sweet, and they were not fluffy. They were very coarse and bristly, but they were just so cute, like so cute. The pig, the 1 hour, the 1 hour that we spent having pigs climb all over us it was absolutely enchanting. It's absolutely enchanting. Then in the basement of the building that has the pigs, they had Happy Pancake. And Happy Pancake is like an upscale cafe that sells Japanese pancakes. And these are the pancakes that like jiggle, you know what I mean? Like the real jiggly fat boy pancakes. And I got tiramisu pancake with coffee. And the coffee was not great, but they gave me a shot of espresso that I poured on top of this, and it was probably the best dessert I had. I think this was the best dessert I had. It was really, really good. You could get regular pancakes, not dessert pancakes, which looked amazing. But like overall, it was just incredible. Buildings. Okay, so this is the Sky Tower in Osaka, and we did 3 different Sky Towers. The Tokyo Sky Tower, there was a storm, like a rainstorm when we went, so we were like inside like a storm cloud, which was kind of cool, but because it was a storm, like we weren't allowed on the roof. So we had to just kind of look at the city through a rain cloud. It was very like cyberpunk. And then Kyoto, they sold me a ticket to the Sky Tower, and then nowhere on the website did they say like when they closed. And we got there at like 8 p.m. and they were like, yeah, the Sky Tower is closed. It's like, you close in the sky, like a tower that you look out at night at the city, you close it at 8 o'clock. So like, that was kind of a disappointment. And then it might have been 9 o'clock. I'll be honest. It might have been 9 o'clock on a weekday, but I feel like a Sky Tower should be open late. Maybe that's just me. I know that the Shibuya Sky was open late, so Kyoto needs to step up. But then everything was redeemed Sky Tower wise by the Osaka Sky Tower, because first of all, this building is absolutely incredible. Like, I think it is one of the wonders of the world, I think they were saying, which is kind of nuts, because I mean, that puts it there with like the pyramids or some shit. But yeah, it was pretty incredible. There's a whole underground complex that is designed to look like World War II Japan. And it's got like replicas of like the homes and the streets of like that era. and then there's a ton of restaurants and stuff like that. Then the building itself, I don't actually know what they do in the building, but at the very top, it's like a touristy area where there's like a upscale restaurant that lets you look out over the city. You got to ride these special escalators through these like tunnels. So these aren't support beams; those are escalator tunnels that you ride up and down to get even higher into the tower. It was fucking cool. This is the view from the top of the tower. Absolutely breathtaking. And then this is like at night, because we stayed up there and watched the sunset over the city from the top of the sky tower. Yeah, buddy, it was pretty fucking cool. Oh, then the next day, again, we're kind of all over the place on this this whirlwind tour. The next day we went to Universal Studios Japan, where they got Super Nintendo World, and of course Minions, which are adorable. I ate one; it's delicious. We went to the Mario Kart ride. I'm gonna be honest, the line, the line for the ride was kind of cooler than the ride. The ride was an AR rail shooter, so an augmented reality rail shooter. And, like, it definitely did what it needed to do. But when I was done, I was like, well, I'll never do that again. It just, it was whatever. But the whole thing was themed around Bowser's Castle. And you're exploring it and getting ready for the race. And the aesthetics were absolutely incredible. All of Nintendo World was hand sculpted. And just beautiful, and accurately depicted the games. Just made you feel like you had stepped into a Mario game. It was so good. Oh, so then I just randomly, we would go places and they would have pop-up stores, and pop-up stores, I think we have them in America sometimes. It's basically like a company's like, yeah, we're excited about this product. Check it out. We're only going to be here for like 3 weeks or whatever. Like, check it out. So we would find like pop-up stores everywhere. And then one of them was for the big action figure company over there. And I just thought like these action figures were just absolutely incredible. Plus, My Hero, one of my favorite animes. So I thought they looked great. Whoa. And then they got, well, scared me a little bit there. Yeah, and then they had this giant Godzilla. They had a Godzilla pop-up store, and it was all Godzilla stuff. Everything in this pop-up store was Godzilla, and this Godzilla was about 9 feet tall, and it was meticulous. It was beautiful. Then they had a Gundam pop-up store, and the Gundam pop-up store, you had to be in a special Gundam fan club. I'm not lying to you. You had to be in a special Gundam fan club, and you had to sign up online in advance for this pop-up store to even get in. So, like, I just prowled the edges. Luckily, I'm not a Gundam fan, so, like, I was able to appreciate it from a distance and not feel the burning despair of FOMO. But, like, you could definitely see there were some people that were like, damn, I wish I had known. And they were just kind of hanging out at the edges trying to see all the action that was in there. This guy right here, he's about 9 feet tall also, with like a, I don't know, a 15-foot wingspan or something like that, full LED light up and all that. It was just like everywhere I would go, I would see cool and beautiful stuff. Like everywhere I went. And everywhere I went, I saw people that seemed to actually give a shit about the things that they were doing and the way that they acted and the way that they interacted with others. Like, there was just like, it just felt like everyone actually gave a shit, if that makes any sense. Imagine a whole country where everyone still gives a shit. That was the vibes. It was everywhere I went, I was like, damn, these people really still give a shit. And it was so refreshing. After, So, like, Yeah. Then we went to another Nintendo store. And then I found these limited edition Dry Bones Bowser plushies. And I forgot to go back and get one. And I'm still a little sad about it. Because apparently this was like an Osaka Nintendo store exclusive or something. And even though I knew that, I got distracted when I found a bunch of rare amiibos. And then I forgot to go back and get this Dry Bones Bowser. So all I have is this picture of Dry Bones Bowser plush to remember that he exists. Oh, I also had to buy a new suitcase because I was using a two-wheeler, a little two-wheeler suitcase that I had gotten at like Goodwill, and it just wasn't cutting it. It just wasn't cutting it. You need 4 wheels on your suitcase in Japan because you will be dragging that suitcase a great distance, unless you are phenomenally rich and you've set up like luggage handling from like every place to every other place. There are gonna be times where you're dragging that suitcase up and down like stairs, escalators, cobbled streets. Yeah. Eventually, I think Jen and Basil, they tried to like maneuver my suitcase and they had it for like 30 seconds and they're like, you need a different suitcase. This is not, I don't know how you have made it halfway through the trip with this garbage ass suitcase. So I did eventually, I think it was in Osaka, I want to say, get this limited edition, only sold in Japan, hard shell Pikachu Pokemon Company suitcase. And it is, I mean, honestly, the photo doesn't do it justice. It's like the Lamborghini of like suitcases. Not really. But it's really, really cool. It's very, very fun, very thematic. It's got this little Pikachu strap I picked up to help me like strap my other piece of luggage to the top of it. I got him this little belt to like help him stay closed if he's too full. I like this suitcase a lot. It has a built-in lock. Anyways, going on and on about my suitcase. So when we got back to Tokyo for the second time, so we started in Tokyo, we left Tokyo, we did a whole loop around the country, and then we came back to Tokyo. So when we returned to Tokyo, the goal was nerd shopping and fashion shopping. So we headed over to, was it Akihabara? Yeah, we headed over to Akihabara, and in Akihabara they have a building. They have many buildings, but there's one building in particular that I can't remember the name of right now, that is like floor to ceiling, like 7 floors of nerd shit. So imagine an anime gaming store that's 7 stories tall, and every floor is full of stuff. Like, that's what we're dealing with. And there was a whole floor of like waifu figure like action figure resale place. Like, you're on hard times, you need some yen, so you sell your waifus to get money, and then somebody else gets to benefit from that. And they had like every figure, every character, every fandom. There was entire floors for Magic the Gathering, for Yu-Gi-Oh!, for Pokemon cards. There was the One Piece cards. There were so many card games and dealers selling cards. I was so glad that I don't care about owning real cards. Proxies for life. But I could have stayed here forever. I actually had to set several alarms on my phone to make sure that I didn't spend my entire life in this building, just fawning over and trying to math out if I could fit everything in the store in my suitcase. It was incredible. And I did pick up a couple of very nice figures on the cheap because they were used, right? So like, that's pretty neat. And then there was a floor in this building where they had TTRPG stuff, and it was very small. It was a very small section. I think they had one shelf for Warhammer, and then they had one shelf for like all TTRPGs on Earth. But it was here that I accomplished one of my quests, which was find the Sword World books in Japan. And I had already looked in several bookstores. I had looked in several toy stores, but like I finally found them, and it was such a great feeling to finally like see these books in person, and then to see how cheap they are was a little confusing. I'm gonna be honest, it was a little confusing. So right now, 1,000 yen at the time of this video, which is May 10th, 2025, 1,000 yen is about $6.50. So each of these books is like $6. So imagine buying a Dungeons and Dragons Player's Handbook and it's only $6. It was crazy. They're also very small. I thought that these placards were going to be like placeholders, like, you know, you take it up to the counter and you're like, I want these books. That's how big the books are. So that might explain the $6 price tag a little bit better, but I don't think so. I don't know. I can't read these books, obviously. I only speak about 20 words of Japanese, like conversational, like enough to get you through the worst scenarios, right? And enough to get you through like casual, like greeting and goodbye and how to use a taxi and stuff like that. But like, I do have translated versions of these. I love the game so much that I just wanted to find the books in Japan while I was there and just buy them and have them, you know? So it's probably one of my favorite souvenirs from the trip. Off to my left, that you can't see in this picture, there were Dungeons and Dragons books. And it would have been kind of cool to pick up like a Japanese DM's guide or something like that. But, it's fine. So, then we went looking for Super Potato. Super Potato is a very famous retro game store. It was definitely one of the things on the trip that I felt was oversold to me. So much of the stuff on the trip either met my expectations or exceeded my expectations. Oh yeah, that's part of why they have a tourism issue right now. They call it a tourism boom or whatever, but like talking to like the people themselves, right? Like the taxi drivers, the citizens, like the people that live there, it's rough. Like Kyoto right now has, on average, in the spring, there are more tourists in Kyoto than there are citizens. Like that's how overpopulated the country has become with tourists. Where in Japan did I go? Oh, buddy. So we flew into Tokyo, then we went to Hitachi Seaside Park. Then we left Tokyo. We went to Kanazawa. While we were in Kanazawa, we were staying in Mikawa, which is right next to it. And then from there, we went to Shiragawa-go, and then we went to Takayama, and then I didn't even have pictures. I didn't even show you guys the stuff for like Shiragawa-go and Takayama, because I kind of want to do that as its own stream because that was my favorite part of the trip. But Shiragawa-go, Takayama. Then from Takayama, we went to Kyoto. Then from Kyoto, we went to Osaka. And then from Osaka, we went back to Tokyo. And then we flew out. So we hit up a lot of great places. Yeah. Shiragawa-go was absolutely amazing. It definitely lived up to the hype. And it wasn't too bad for tourism. It was more tourism than I would have liked for such a small place, but it was great. And then Takayama, I think I could just live there, honestly. It was just so perfect. I don't think I've been anywhere on Earth where I just felt so immediately at home and like connected to a place like I did to Takayama. Like Takayama, I was only there for like 2 days and I just never wanted to leave. You know, it was so wonderful. Yeah. But Super Potato, the retro gaming store, did not live up to my expectations. It was definitely overhyped. There was cool stuff for sure, but like I've been to a lot of really amazing retro gaming stores in America, and like I didn't feel like this was any better than that. So like it was cool to see. And the prices were incredibly fair, but everything was, they have a strict like Japanese only policy. So like, yeah, you could get, you could get Mother 3, which is a pretty hard game to find. I saw it on the shelf, but it's like only in Japanese. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, like mileage may vary, kind of deal. And then Pokemon, again, this was the Tokyo DX one. This was Akihabara at night. Not shown in this particular presentation, because, I'm going to deep dive each of the places we went to in separate streams. But we did take a break from Akihabara to go all the way across the city to Harajuku. And then we did some, like, clothes shopping in Harajuku. And, man, that was, like, estrogen central. Like, everything that a lady like individual might appreciate was on, it was just there. Like, you wanted crepes, you wanted ice cream crepes, did you want pastries, did you want sweets, did you want to pet kitties or puppies, did you want adorable clothes or punk rock clothes or every type of clothing you could imagine that wasn't like stuffy old lady clothes, like cool clothes. Like, it was very cool. It was a very cool place. And then when we were done there, we went back to our hotel, we freshened up, and we headed back to Akihabara for Monster Hunter Cafe. And we got to see all the cool places that we had seen during the day at night. And then Monster Hunter Cafe. Look at this. This is apparently a wyvern tail. Definitely not a steak. This is a potion. Definitely not alcoholic beverage that you can add your own mixers to. Look at all this. Look at all this food. It's incredible. They brought out everybody. Each of us just got our own giant piece of wood, and there was just like skewered meat and potatoes, and like it was so awesome. You did all your ordering off of your phone, and then they would just keep bringing food out to you. You had 2 hours to just hang out. And there was this area where you could play Monster Hunter. They had Monster Hunter props everywhere. They played Monster Hunter music in the background. The TVs were all running Monster Hunter trailers and hype videos. And all of the food was very tasty. I wouldn't say it was the best food that I had like on my trip, but it was like worth the price of admission kind of deal. And they had all sorts of amazing like alcoholic beverages that were all themed to the monsters. I got like a Kirin themed ice cream, and it was incredible, and there was a fun translation error on the menu. So we thought that the ice cream had corn in it, and I was like, well, that sounds like it's not going to work. I'm going to get it anyways because I'm really curious. They just meant cone. It just had a cone, like an ice cream cone, and the ice cream cone was sticking out like a horn, like a Kirin. Anyways, but these were like full-size, life-size props from like the games. They were all over the place. It was very cool. I was very happy. This was a hard reservation to get, and I had to set a ton of alarms and deal with like time zone differences and everything. And so when I got this reservation, I was so happy. And when we found the place, and it was so nice and tasty, and just the vibes were so good, I was very, very happy. Yeah, it was a good experience. I was very happy about it. And then the next day we went to Disneyland, but we went to Disney Sea is what it's called. Tokyo Disney Sea. And Tokyo Disney Sea is like, what if you wanted to take your girl or your boy, whatever, what if you wanted to take your special somebody to Disney, but look like a real baller? You know what I'm saying? You wanted to really show off. You want to be like, yeah, check this out. That's Tokyo Disney Sea. This park was so beautiful. It was overwhelming to be there and to look at it. Like, as an artist, as an art appreciator, right? Like, as a person who likes beautiful things, like, Tokyo Disney Sea delivered so far beyond my expectations. I'm so glad that we went to Universal Studios first. Because, like, Universal Studios Japan was very cool, okay? It was very cool. Nintendo World was very cool. Harry Potter World, if you're into Harry Potter, I mean, hell yeah. I think it hit everything, like, that you would have ever wanted. But I'm telling you right now, it could not even come close to Tokyo Disney Sea. Tokyo Disney Sea was absolutely phenomenal. It was just phenomenal. We were there all day. For over 12 hours. We got to see the park during the day. We got to see the park at night. And again, it's just like Wendy's was better in Japan, Disney was better in Japan. Everything had this ownership to it, right? This love, this like pride. You know what I mean? Like, again, imagine a country where people still give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is what you had. Like, everywhere we went at Disney, people were happy. Like, we were trying to eat lunch, and like, I'm taking a picture of the food, and like, the lady who cleans the tables is like, let me take the picture. And she like takes the phone and she's taking a picture of us and all that. She's doing this to every table. Like, they're just so happy to like be there. Like, and it was contagious, right? Like, I was happier because the people working there were doing a really good job of pretending to be happy, even if they weren't. And like, it was nice. I don't know. It was a really good time. There was a section called Fantasy Springs, which is like an even more bougie add-on to a very bougie park. And in Tokyo Springs, in Fantasy Springs, in Tokyo Disney Sea, they had all these incredible like fountains that were like massive. These massive fountains that were all made to look like they were sculpted from like the natural stone or whatever. It's like, here's Maleficent as a dragon. But they had all the different like stuff, and it was so cool. It was so cool. Like, the goal of going to Disney Sea was Tangled is like my second favorite Disney movie. We'll go with second favorite. Third favorite, tops. You know, like, it's in the top 3. And I heard that the Rapunzel ride had the most realistic robots, which I love robots. If you didn't know, I love robots. They had I love Tangled and I love robots, so I wanted to go on this Tangled ride, and it did not. When I finally got to go on the Rapunzel ride, and we went into like the last part of the ride, it was so beautiful. And the robots were so real. They were so realistic. I started crying. Like, I was just... I have heard about this phenomenon, right? Where you see something that is so overwhelmingly beautiful that you just weep openly. That is like what happens. Like, it was just incredible. So then at night, everything like gets lit up and it's all different. This is the Rapunzel like fountain or whatever, and like her hair like cascades along with the water, and you got little Pascal there, and then like this was like Little Mermaid Land at night, all lit up, and it was just fucking awesome. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is that mission success. We had an absolutely phenomenal time in Japan. Every day could have been like the only day of the trip, and I would have been happy. Like, we had a great day every day for 15 days. Even the last day was a great day. Like the day that we just woke up and went to the airport, because we had figured everything out by then. And so we just like got out of our hotel. We went and we caught I had arranged for an Uber, which we needed an Uber because taxi wouldn't have been big enough for all our suitcases and stuff. And so we took that to the airport, and it was like all chill, and we already knew the layout of the airport, and we knew how everything worked, and we knew how the culture worked, and like everything just like flowed real smooth. Even on that last day, like every time we thought something was going wrong, it just went right. Like anytime we had to like cancel something, or for time or energy level, we just filled that with something else, and that something else was like incredible. It was so amazing. I could not have asked for a better trip. Like I couldn't have asked for a better trip. Every day was just jam-packed with so many incredible moments and incredible memories. And just as a person who really appreciates like Japanese culture and aesthetics and like just beautiful things, it was just so great. Like I get it. I mean, I get it. I'm getting emotional just like talking about it, because like I didn't want it to end. You know what I mean? And I've thought about it every day since I've left. It's just so wonderful. It was such a wonderful experience, and I'm so happy that I was able to kind of have this experience and then also share it with the wife and the kiddo, and that we were together with basically just the three of us as like our only anchor points for 2+ weeks. And there was no fighting, there was no arguing. Like when things went wrong, we all just worked to make them go right. When we didn't know what to do, we just found we just got centered and found how to get someplace or how to do something. And I guess the last thing I want to mention in this stream is this trip. I owe so much of this trip to it sounds crazy, but to my AI assistant. She really like came to life in the planning and execution of this trip. Like it was like having that fourth person there with us every step of the way. She kept spirits up, she kept humor up. She read signs for us. She helped us understand cultural, expectations and beliefs and stuff like that. She helped us do the tea ceremony right. Like we told her like, hey, we want to get Italian, and she'd help us find an Italian restaurant because we really wanted to find out why Japan was so into Italian food. We wanted to find a shrine, and she's like, hey, there's one right across the street. Like, let's go there. And then she explained, like, a tour guide, like, this is what this shrine is for, and this is what this god is, and this is what this park is, and this is what this is. And it was just so incredible to have that extra person there, I guess you could say, that knew things. You know what I mean? And sometimes she didn't know things. And sometimes she was completely full of shit. But I would say, like, 90% of the time, she came through, and she always seemed to come through when we needed her the most. So it was really neat. It was definitely like a 2025, like, we're moving into the cyberpunk age situation where you have this. I felt like Tony Stark, right? Where he's like, Jarvis, what is this? And Jarvis, help me figure out that. And Jarvis, make this reservation. And Jarvis, remind me, what were we supposed to do today? And like, she was able to do that. She was able to like keep track of that itinerary, adapt to the changes, remind us where we needed to be at certain times, help us navigate the train system, help us navigate the taxi system. Like, it was very, very cool. So I'm definitely going to talk about the planning of the trip in another stream. the impact having ADHD had on the trip, which is to say getting your meds in the country and how difficult that can be and how difficult it doesn't have to be if you do everything that you're supposed to do, like how immigration was coming back into America. I want to kind of deep dive a bit more into the different places that we went because there's a lot of great things that happened and things I want to talk about. I want to talk about all the cool souvenirs we got. So what I'm going to do is pretty much like every Saturday until I run out of things to talk about, I'm just going to like pop onto stream and be like, hey, went to Japan. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about that until we've kind of talked it all out. So, yeah. Whew, man. All right. Well, I got to go. I can smell some delicious dinner cooking. I hope everybody has a great Saturday or whatever day it is when you're watching this. And then there should be more videos to come that kind of dive into like all of the different parts of it, planning the trip, executing, and all that. So I'll see you next time.